Early in our marriage, I cheated twice on my husband. One of the affairs was with my ex for about a year and a half, and another was an emotional affair with a random guy online for about a year. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, I just discovered a 3-year affair with my husband. I cannot handle the pain, and I'm having thoughts of offing myself. I need advice. And a big shout out to Ash for sending me this story. And guys, what we have here is definitely a karma story. Definitely a story that shows how some people in this world, they do something and it will come back to bite them in the butt later on down the road. In my opinion, things will always come back to bite you in the butt, so you got to be careful. In the story here, we have a woman. She is 40 years old. She's been married for a number of years, 20 years, has 2 kids, 17 and 19. And long story short, she got married really early on and cheated on her husband twice, right? And yet he stayed with her. Well, as the title says, she discovered that this guy was having a 3-year affair, and he's having all sorts of plans of leaving her, etc., etc. And she's just destroyed and now thinking about offing herself, even though she did the same thing to him years earlier, and he stayed with her. So it's definitely very interesting there, and shows how things come back to haunt you. And you're going to see here what she thinks, what she feels, and what she discovers about what he was doing and all that. It's definitely quite interesting. Now, of course, in my opinion, 2 wrongs don't make a right, and this is why I say all the time that if cheating is discovered, it's best to just break up and end it right then and there. Because here's an example of something that can happen, because the resentment will linger. Men don't forget. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. And so you're going to see here, it would have been best to just part ways. But I'll get more into this as I read the story. So it starts off, it says here, first time post. English is not my first language, so sorry for any errors, probably a long post. I am a 40-year-old female, and I've been with my husband, a 38-year-old male, for 20 years, married for 18. We have 2 kids together, a 19-year-old girl and a 17-year-old boy. I have gone through my worst phases of my life with my husband, and he's always been my rock support for me. Our marriage had rough patches as well. I got pregnant at a young age, so I never had experienced the life of teenagers. Pay attention to that part. I got married young, pregnant young, therefore I didn't get to experience things. And what happens to the gals that a lot of times they don't get to experience these things? They got to make up for them. It says here, early in our marriage, I cheated twice on my husband. One of the affairs was with my ex-boyfriend for about a year and a half, and the other was a emotional affair with a random guy that I met online for also about a year. So once wasn't enough with the ex. Let me guess, the ex is probably the bad boy Chatter Tyrone type. Okay, meanwhile she married the nice guy. Imagine that. And here's a question. How do you know that these kids are his? That was my first thought, right? How do you know she didn't get pregnant from her ex? There's no doubt a bad boy type. You can feel it. But she married this dude because she knew that he'd be good to her, right? She said, we married at a young age, so I made some really terrible choices, which I regret to this day. He forgave me for the affair, but made me sign an agreement for distribution of assets in case of a divorce in the future. I agreed and understood why he had to do that. So, he's planning ahead. He doesn't trust her. But watch how this goes. We started fresh and had an awesome marriage. So she thought. He encouraged me to become sober and clean from drugs. At the time I cheated, I used to take drugs. Let me guess. She probably blamed it on the drugs. Not my fault. I never would have cheated on you, but it was the drugs that made me do it. But I love you so much, husband. He got a promotion and we bought a house. He planned vacations and encouraged me to pursue my hobbies. He helped with chores and was a great dad to our children. About 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with uterine cancer. When a doctor informed us about the cancer, he literally broke down and started crying. At that moment, I realized how much he loved me. I had to undergo surgery for removal of my uterus. After the successful surgery, he took care of me like I was a child. Well, she's behaved like a child. He made me breakfast, ordered lunch, and cooked dinner. For about 6 months, he did not let me do any household work or any other work. He even made food for the children on his own. These are the moments I look back and imagine that I could not have survived without him. He is my soulmate, and I cannot imagine my life without him. So she's doubling and tripling down, and I can't imagine my life without him. Meanwhile, when she was younger, she had no problem cheating on him twice, and not just a random hookup, for years. Well, the nice guy proves, as you're going to see here, that eventually you can push a nice guy too far before he takes action. Last night, while he was sleeping, I unlocked his phone and opened his Facebook for some of his photos, as I was planning on to surprise him with a big collage of his life journey on his birthday. Is that the real reason why, or was there other reasons why? I saw 2 Facebook accounts on it. One was his regular one, but the other was with a different name. I opened the other account and found that messages that were sent to his former coworker. They were sexting. I didn't read them, but screenshot the entire thing and sent it to my phone. I deleted screenshots from his phone and left his phone on his side. I was not able to sleep and was crying all night. So, the perfect husband is cheating on her. And you're going to find out pretty soon, guys, how in-depth and how long this thing was going. So she's crying all night, feeling awful, can't sleep. Now imagine how he felt, right, when he found out about everything she did. And it wasn't like it was a one-time thing. This was 2 affair partners. And this is just what she's mentioning. Going on for years. But, never mind that, but when she's hurting, then it's a tragedy. In the morning, my eyes were noticeably swollen. He asked me about my health, which I replied I was fine. When women say they're fine, they're never fine. He gave me a kiss on the forehead and left for work. As soon as our younger son left for school, I opened the screenshots and read the entire conversation. There's no way that she snapshotted that and then didn't read the whole thing that night. I can't believe she waited that long. Messages were dated back 6 months ago. As I scrolled up, they discussed about their sex fantasies, things they'll do to each other, and nudes. It made me sick to my stomach. As I scrolled more, I saw the message, Happy 3-year anniversary. I don't know why, but after reading that, I literally had a panic attack. I was just laying on the floor crying. 3 years. Sounds to me like this guy never got over it. Sounds to me that this guy probably stuck in it for the kids, because he didn't want to do that to the kids, as a lot of guys do, but has been planning his escape. And he has it set up that upon divorce, the whole thing with the assets. Now, again, like I said in the beginning, 2 wrongs don't make a right. This is karma for her actions, don't get me wrong, and she deserves this. But still, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And honestly, he should have just ended it with her back then. Yes, they had kids, if they were indeed his kids, and he would have been supportive and a good father to them, but he didn't have to be with her. But he stood with her, but obviously he had different plans. Guys don't get over this shit, in spite of what some women may think. He told her about my past infidelity and how he still has nightmares and flashbacks in mind, but with her he feels free from those thoughts and enjoys every second of it. He even said how that he is tolerating every moment he has with me for the past 18 years. Being intimate with me is just physical satisfaction, and he has to do for me, but with her it's deep emotional chemistry. How he stayed in the marriage because of the children, and will leave me as soon as both kids start college, and they even plan their wedding. Wow. Can you imagine her reaction to this? There you go. Staying it for the kids. I think this is a waste of time. He should have done that, but obviously this guy, he felt that was the best thing to do. But obviously leading up, he was planning his exit strategy, found himself a girl. Now the question is, will karma come after him with her? Who knows? Now some people may disagree with that. That's fine. But I found that karma will always come back to bite people in the butt. But anyhow, 2 wrongs don't make a right. But regardless, this is her karma. This is what she gets after all those years of what she did to him. Because obviously this guy, he was a good father, good husband, would have been great to her, but he had different thoughts. Men don't get over this stuff. This is why these guys that think they're just going to stay with their wives if they cheat on him, this is why they things don't go well, because the woman doesn't respect him for staying. And also that the guy can never get out of his head, imagining her effing the other dude, not being able to trust her, because I guarantee this guy never trusted her again, right? And he said right there, she read it about him having nightmares and all that. It feels like if one day my life is destroyed. I thought we were a happy family. I had everything in my life, but one day my world is shattered. Well, how about how he felt? How about how he felt back then? Did she ever really understand that? She just figured probably back then, hell, I'm done, I'm sorry, I'll move on, but thinking that he'll move on too. It doesn't work that way. I wanted to grow old with him, but now I feel lonely. It seems like my life was a delusion. I can feel my body becoming lifeless, like my soul is being murdered. I thought that he would have forgotten the past mistake I made 14 years ago, but he was just bearing my mistake for so many years. Men don't forget. And forgotten the past mistake, it wasn't a mistake. You forget to pay the electric bill. Okay, that's a mistake. Things like that. You forget to pay the cable bill or the internet bill, and you come home and the cable or the internet's out. Okay, that's a mistake. But her having the affair with her ex-boyfriend for a year and a half, and then if that wasn't enough, another year-long affair, that's beyond just a mistake. That's a well-calculated thing. That what says what she's like. So I don't feel bad for her. I know that he is my soulmate and I cannot live without him. I don't know what to do. I have thoughts of offing myself and the idea of him leaving me. It's been 5 hours since I read his messages. I just want to off myself so I have the privilege of dying with him as my husband rather than alone. Okay, so she can feel awful. Obviously she does, but how about her kids? You want to end it all and leave them without a mother? Really? Should I tell him how I feel or what are my thoughts? These past years, I had no idea how much he suffered from the trauma of my betrayal. I know it would be selfish of me to guilt trip him, but my soul is tied to him. If he leaves me, I'd rather off myself than living alone or with someone else. I'm confused and I don't know what to do next. Any advice to save our relationship? Here's my advice. Let him go. It died 14 years ago with your 2 affairs. Okay? And yeah, she feels awful. But that's her karma. How do you think he felt back then? How do you think he's felt all this time, never trusting her? I guarantee you his heart was ripped out and he lost all possible love for her. But he stayed in it for the kids, which, in my opinion, he shouldn't have done. But he did anyway. And obviously, his exit strategy, he's got himself a new chick. Who knows what will happen with her? But the point is, she got what she deserved. Okay? It's harsh. It really is. But karma will come back to bite you in the ass. So, obviously, at this point, she's got to talk to him about it because it's not like she's going to bottle this up or anything. And then, obviously, then they should part ways, finally. And he can move on, and she can move on. And in spite of how she's feeling, she might feel like she wants to end it all, but nobody should end it all over this. I don't care who you are. And yeah, she did this in the past, but she's not mentioning... I have a hard time buying that for 14 years now, she's been a sweet angel, nothing's happened, because cheaters always cheat. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Okay? But she owes it to her children, if she's been a good mom, to be strong for them. That's what she owes it to those kids. Because it would mess those kids up even worse if she offed herself, because they obviously love her. Now here's a few comments from people around the world. One guy says, "This is why you should divorce after an affair. No one ever forgets." That's what I said. Another guy says, "I cannot believe how many commenters are giving you a pass for your own infidelity. Effing simps. If you were a man, they would have crucified you in the comments section. I get that 2 wrongs don't make a right, and I would have suggested you break up with you after your affair. But there's something very satisfying of cheaters getting a taste of their own medicine." I agree with this guy. 2 wrongs don't make a right, and I said what I said about it. They should have ended it. But she's gotten a taste of her own medicine all right. Now she knows how it feels. Another guy says, "Not to minimize your pain, it's very real. But you should probably stop for a moment to reflect on what your husband has been through. Clearly you and he had very different ideas of how reconciliation went. Not unusual. The cheater is ready to move on, not that easy for the betrayed. But the betrayed probably feels like they can't bring stuff up for fear of chasing a cheater off. So betrayed just eats the shit sandwich." Yeah, he ate the shit sandwich all right and endured all those years. But he obviously, in the back of his mind, planned that the second the kids were old enough and out of the house, adios, amigo. He says, "Here's the deal. Stop calling it a mistake. That's minimalization. It wasn't a mistake. It was a betrayal. Realize that what you're feeling now is what he has gone through for 14 years. Step back, empathize with him first. The starting point would not be you unloading your pain on him, but you sharing that you now understand what you did and expressing genuine remorse and empathy. There you go. Talk about a karma story there. And I haven't heard a good karma story like this in quite a long time. But so what do you think she's going to do? Is she going to do what that guy suggested about saying pretty much now I understand and have it coming from a place of empathy? Or is she going to unload on him with the guilt and all that? I'm going to put on option B. And of course, she shouldn't end it all over this. She's 40 years old. Okay, she's got the kids. She is their mom. I'm assuming she's been a good mom to them, they have a good relationship, so she can't end it all for them, but she's probably being just emotional and dramatic and all that. But karma's a bitch. She'll come back to bite you in the ass. And as for the guy, who knows what will happen? Maybe he'll find happiness because he certainly would deserve it. I don't know. One can make the argument that nothing good comes out of affairs. I don't promote cheating, and I don't think he should have done that at all. I honestly think he should have ended it right then and there 14 years ago. But if he had to stay with her for the kids, if that was his mindset, just wait to end it when the kids move out, and then he can have something going on with the woman. But it is amusing to hear the karma getting on someone like this who definitely deserves it. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, you come across a really good story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just be sure to include the link to the article or story. I'll definitely cover it down the road. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.